Hello.
Hey, hey.
All
Feels
right.
like we're on a radio show. That's cute.
I know, right? Welcome to my show. We have a guest, Rizzo. um, I'm just going to do a little quick introduction for anybody who ends up watching this live. I hope the music is not too loud. I always wonder about that. Um, I'm going to do a little quick introduction. And then I'll ask you to introduce yourself as well. And then we'll get to the agenda of what we're going to talk about today. So again, for viewers who are new, I'm Adriana. I host this Astrology JavaScript series to kind of talk about building out tools for astrology plus human design. Haven't gotten to that piece yet, but please, next episode, I will be talking about human design. So be on the lookout for that. I'm a software engineer. I've been software engineering for almost a decade, probably.
Oh,
I think,
wow.
yeah. So this is kind of my little baby that I do for passion projects and stuff because we built out so many cool projects, but it's never things that we're passionate about because it's mostly for things for work. But I don't know about you, Rosalie. I think you get to do a lot of passion projects with dealing with with tools at work and stuff. So please introduce yourself to the guests and everybody.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having me. I'm excited. Like you have it all set up real cute and everything. But yeah, my name is Roselle Scarlett. I am on the DevRel team at Block. Particularly like Block, if people don't know what it is, it's a parent company of like Cash App and Square and Afterpay and stuff like that. But now we have another like little segment called Block Open Source, and we're focused on an AI agent called Goose. So that's where my focus is right now. I'm kind of just trying out different AI agents, and I'm all about MCP, Model Context Protocol, right now, and I'm excited to learn what Adriana built, and then also show off Goose.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you again for being on the show today. So we were supposed to have Ebony today as well, but she's feeling under the weather. So we'll have to make a party between us, and hopefully in the future we'll get to have her. But please, I know you, Rizal, and Ebony, and a lot of people from Block Open Source are always live streaming different products and stuff. So be on the lookout for whatever they do. They're always on the forefront testing things before you guys get to it. So I think it's so important to be aware of new tech coming out. So we've got a pretty packed agenda. Yeah, if Priscilla, thank you so much for reposting the stream. If you guys have any comments, any questions, anything that you guys want to ask us about, please don't be afraid to comment on anything. We are going to talk a little bit about astrology. So, I mean, if you're new to astrology and you're like, what does that mean? What does this mean? I'm happy to answer the question as much as possible. And also, the internet is full of resources if you're also curious about that, if I don't provide the best answer. So, today's agenda, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the project I've been building the past few months. It didn't actually take months. I just, just been focusing on other things. This is kind of like my side project, my side passion, other than my full-time job that I work at. So I have been building out a bot. So initially it started off as a bot. And let me see if I can add to the stage. There we go. So if you're familiar with Blue Sky, if you're familiar with Twitter, you know that there's a new social platform called Blue Sky, which is kind of like identical to Twitter's beginning days. And it's definitely open source platform. They have a really great API. I was recently able to kind of put together hit some different endpoints, APIs to collect moon data so that I could know the phase of the moon and also calculate the sign that the moon is transiting in terms of tropical astrology, which is one system, with a different set of system compared to what is calculated within the zodiac constellations in the sky right now as we speak. So that's how I started out first. And so then different things started coming out where we could connect technology to different LLMs using MCPs. And then slowly the AI agents started coming out to be more popular. And so I was able to kind of make the bot a little bit more agentic to the point where I wanted to, if I were to post something and I reply with my rising sign, the bot will now be able to reply back to you of how the moon is transiting towards your rising sign. And rising sign, if you're not familiar with in astrology, is pretty much the sign up to where the sun was coming up on the eastern horizon. This rising sign is really important when you are getting into astrology, kind of to understand your natal chart, which is a large wheel that has 12 split houses. And so a lot of people know their sun sign, which is your core essence, and then your moon sign, which is your emotions or depicts your subconscious. And so the rising sign makes it just as important because it determines like which direction of the houses flow of the signs. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm just this one sign, the sun sign. I was born September 4th, so I'm a Virgo, but in tropical astrology, but I was gonna say, but the rising sign was also in Virgo, and sometimes your sun sign doesn't match your rising sign. That it just
Oh, I legit, sorry to interrupt you. I
hey,
thought rising sign was sun sign. Like, I thought, I don't know why, but keep going.
it's a common misconception, and that's why I love to do these live streams and talk more about astrology, to talk about like you are so much more than your sun sign. And that's why some people are like, I read my horoscope for Libra today, but it didn't really match or anything, because sometimes your Libra sun sign isn't the same thing as your rising sign, which most horoscopes go off of your rising sign, because they're trying to determine which planets that are transiting are actually affecting a specific house, which there are 12 houses. But we'll get into that into a little bit later. I don't want to overwhelm people with all that information. I just want to share some simple things. But yeah, so this tool that I built out, I called it a moon cycle bot. It's open source. It is available on my GitHub. And if you're interested in what I'm talking about and the different products, I do have a newsletter and you can find it at celestialdoses.com. The tools that talks about how the architecture is built for the moon cycle bot is described here in my newsletter. You can find it under the tools. And another thing is if you don't know your rising sign, I've actually built a tool recently that helps you reveal it. The only caveat is that you need to know your birth time. So ask mommy, ask daddy if they remember, if it's not on your birth certificate. Or a lot of people, have to end up going to their calling it what do you call it, like public records and stuff like that. Another thing is that there's actual astrologers that provide a service called chart rectification to help you determine your rising sign. That they use a set of tools. They have like they're taught in how to help you with that kind of information. It's actual service that astrologers provide. So I don't provide that. But I know astrologers that do. So if you're ever interested in that, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help with that. So I'm gonna share this tool. Everyone is welcome to use it. I shared it in the Twitch stream. So if you're on LinkedIn or if you're on X watching this, you probably won't get the link, but you can access it by going to ascendant.celestialdoses.com. Roselle, do you want to try this tool out for me?
I'm already typing in there.
All right.
Should I share my screen, or I should just tell you what I get? I'll just type it.
You can share your screen if you want. Do you want to?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
All right. I see the slide.
Right? Yeah. Let me share this tab. Okay. So I was born July 4, 1995, and I believe I was born at 7 a.m. And I was born in St. John's, Antigua. Reveal my...
Buddha.
Yeah. Boom. It says I'm a Cancer rising sign. Okay, that's why I thought that rising sign and sun sign was the same, because I'm a Cancer, but then I guess my rising sign is also a Cancer.
Nice. Yeah. You guys are considered very nurturing and stuff. So my sister, her birthday is July 3rd. And so like I am in love with Cancers. But yeah, so you're a Cancer sun sign and you match with your rising sign, which is nice. How others perceive you or how you go about life is essentially matched up with the same thing as your core essence as your sun sign, which can also
Ooh.
be your ego, like overall terms of like how you present yourself to others, and just like how do you say, yeah, that energy that you represent to others. Okay, cool.
That's
So
great.
yes. Oh yeah, it gets pretty deep. So let me share my screen back up again. So also it's the purpose of knowing your rising sign for this kind of project was I also wanted you to reply back to
Oh,
today's post. So I'm also going to share that in the chat again. It's only going to be available for Twitch viewers. So that's there to access. Or you can go on Blue Sky and look up Celestial Doses, and that will be available there. Um, Giselle, do you
yeah. What am I
just
supposed to write? Am I just supposed to write Cancer?
you could write Cancer Rising.
Okay, Cancer rising. Okay, okay.
I can't remember if I did it so that you can like say just I think it's just reading your zodiac sign, but just like for the purpose of this, you can put Cancer Rising.
Cancer rising. Okay, this is interesting. This is cool.
Yeah.
This makes me want to build a Blue Sky bot.
Oh yeah.
Also, yeah.
Remember when we had like when Twitter first came out, everybody had their Twitter bots and stuff. It was like really,
Yes.
yeah. So Sierra, you asked if how do we access this on Twitch? If you're on Twitch, do you see the chat at all? And I shared some links in there that share the ascendant. If not, you're always welcome to go to celestialdoses.com. And then on the header, there is a tools on the nav bar, and you can access both tools from there as well. Makes it a little bit easier to get access to everything. Okay, cool. So I see that you replied to this. So the only downside of my project right now, I use the Blue Sky MCP server, but I never took it to production. Instead, I use GitHub Actions to kind of run a function every few minutes. So it's not automatic yet, but it is part of like how I wanted to make it a little bit better. So I'm actually, for the purpose of this, and people who are replying back with their rising signs, I appreciate. My best friend Camilla is watching, and she replied with her rising sign. She's a Sagittarius rising. So in order to make this a little bit quicker, I'm gonna run the action now instead of oh wait, this is not the wrong project. So if you're familiar already with Blue Sky,
MCP? Blue Sky?
not Blue Sky, Block Open Source's live Twitches. And say Ebony, she already had a live Twitch stream with the gentleman named Brian Ellen, if I'm not mistaken, and he created a Blue Sky MCP server where it already does all the actions that you would kind of need for Blue Sky. I built on top of that in order to build the rest of the bot in order to kind of take all the rising signs that people reply back and reply back to the user with my moon cycle bot, so they work in tangent. So to make this pretty quick, yeah, so I had one action run 15 minutes ago, but for the purpose of our live stream and to get this going, I'm going to run this action now, and then it should start doing things. So I'm going to look, and the cool thing about GitHub Actions is like it's free. It's pretty easy to kind of like vibe code out if you ever want to build out this project.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, back in the day, aka a few months ago, I used to be writing them all manually, but now I'm like, Goose or whatever AI tool, here's what I want the GitHub action to automate.
Yep. And I love how like the process is just like so like transparent and everything.
Yes, that's true. Where you can see like, oh, you're like, okay, this is the step we're at.
Yeah. This is what has been really nice. So let me see. So, okay, cool. We've got our replies going. So if you reply to the bot and I hit my GitHub action, you should be getting a reply. So is that you're a Cancer rising, and technically the moon is in Scorpio right now. I think the original post says the moon is in Libra, but that was because it was posted about 4 hours ago.
It already moved?
The moon is the quickest moving planet in our solar system. So in the
Okay.
tropical zodiac system, it actually it's actually in Scorpio. So as a Cancer rising, it is in your fifth house. So
Okay.
it's moon in Scorpio in your fifth house. I have it talking like a poetic astrologer. I can change that. I don't know. That's how I told the LLM to like see how it could do, but I wanted to be a little bit more professional. So the moon is transiting in your fifth house indeed, a day of passion, creativity you'll lead. Deep emotions may come to the fore, and love and art you'll find much more. Cancer rising, heed the Scorpio tide. Let your heart, not just your mind, be your guide.
Cute. I like that. I honestly like the little poem
Yeah,
that
the
it
poem
gives.
is
Yeah.
cool. Poem is cool. I want it to be in a way where it can be like a practical way, like teach you like,
Mm.
okay, if the moon's transiting here, how can it benefit me today in that aspect and stuff. So there's so much opportunity to build this out for not just the moon, but in other aspects. The reason why I did the moon was because it changes sign almost 1 to 2 days. So you get
Oh,
more information about where the moon is transiting and stuff. So yeah.
okay. This
Yeah.
is nice. This is okay. Every time I look up cancer stuff, they're like, you're moody and crabby. I'm like, rude. I
Well,
am, but
do
you
you
don't
know
gotta tell me. What
do you
happened?
know that you're ruled by the moon? Cancer is ruled by the moon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they say you're moody because the moon changes so many signs in 1 to 2 days. And so
Oh,
your mood could change, but that doesn't always mean you have to be crabby. It just means that, you're just vibing, you're just going with the flow type of thing. It doesn't have to
okay.
be. I know it shouldn't be that negative. I'm a person who sees all the positive in all zodiac signs. Like I know some people always love to have a conversation like Geminis are too shifty,
Yeah,
nitpicky. But I'm like, these are all positive things that you just haven't seen yet. Like, there's so many things that I can describe as the positive thing.
that's a
So
good perspective.
yes, for sure. So this is the tool I've been building. Obviously, there's some caveats. Like, you won't get a reply. Maybe I asked it to GitHub Actions to do every 5 minutes, but it's not following that order right now. It'll do it like every 15 minutes, every hour, something like that. So it's real shifty. So you can reply back, and you won't get a reply probably for like at the most it won't be more than an hour and stuff. So that's not exactly ideal, but it is a working product. Okay,
That's
cool.
cool.
So, yeah, so my friend also got hers as a Sagittarius rising since the moon is transiting in Scorpio. Scorpio is her 12th house. So it's letting her know this is a time of introspection. It brings a delta into your subconscious brains. Shadows may stir, secrets reveal, a chance to heal.
Ooh,
Embrace your emotional death. Let your intuition take the next step. So, yeah,
that's mysterious.
very mysterious. That's what the 12th house represents. So, okay, cool. Thank you so much for testing this with me, Roselle.
Of course. Thanks for letting me test it.
Cool. So now I do want to talk about now I had to do a couple things for this architecture. This is two projects. I'm using the Blue Sky MCP server and I'm using my own node project that integrates LangGraph to create an agent that connects to OpenAI. And numerous, like about two other APIs. And it wasn't that difficult to build at all. But
Oh,
as you can see, there's a process where I have to run a GitHub action every 5 minutes. That's not really reliable. So I'm kind of wondering what what could I have done better with this? Could Goose have helped me out with this? Maybe you want to talk a little bit to that or talk about what Goose is first.
yeah. I'm okay. I'd say my brain's always all over the place, so I'm gonna say what I think it could have helped you with, and then I can like. Do you want me to share my slides and just go over what Goose is?
Yeah,
So,
that would really
okay.
help.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with like LangGraph agent, but I think you could have used Goose to essentially build this all out. Like you could have been like, oh, here's like you could even plug in an MCP server that gives you the documentation for Blue Sky, and then just tell it like, hey, here's what I want to build, and it will build that out for you. And then in terms of the automation that you want, Goose has this thing called scheduled recipes. It's essentially like scheduled workflows that it'll run all the time. So perhaps you could have used it for that. But I'm not too sure. Like instead of the GitHub action, maybe you could have had it like check every day if somebody responded, or every so often. But I'm not too sure. I think the way that you went about this was good. Like I just think there's always alternatives to doing things. It's not like the way you went about it was bad. I think it was still really like
Yeah. There's
intelligent.
just there's more options. Is like now we're just like it's now deciding like most of these AI agents do the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
about what kind of interface do you want it to look like, how automatic, things like that. So that's what and Goose is LLM agnostic, right?
Yeah, it's LLM agnostic. I'm gonna share my screen, y'all, just so we could talk about this real quick. Um, but yeah, basically, when we say LLM agnostic, if you have a particular LLM or model that you like to work with best, you can bring that into Goose, or you could even say like what I've been doing is like sometimes there's an LLM that's really good at one thing, but not good at something else. So I'll just like switch them out. You know what I mean? All right. So I'm gonna just do these slides really quick. I'm not gonna go through all of them because this is actually our presentation. So I'm just gonna pick out like a couple of things in here. But basically, folks, uh, Goose is a. Let me fast forward to here and then come back for you. Goose is an open source AI agent that's local to your machine and follows the MCP standard. A lot of this might be vocabulary that people are not familiar with. So just really quickly, so you can see what it looks like. It's a desktop application. It originally looked like this, and we recently like revamped the UI, and it
Nice.
looks like this now. Or you can use it as a CLI tool, right? So either one, we want it to be like extensive for people who like might be engineers and like working in their terminal, but people within our company use Goose, not just the engineers, like HR executives and stuff like that. They use it to automate their entire lives. So we don't want them working in the terminal. That's not really friendly. Um, but okay, fast forwarding right back to where we were. Um, the idea of Goose, right? When I say it's an AI agent, when I say that, I really mean that it's software that works on your behalf, right? So a lot of people are familiar with systems like ChatGPT, where you type a question and it generates an answer for you, and basically it generates text or an image. With AI agents, they're executing tasks on your behalf. They're running applications. So with ChatGPT, you're like, oh, can you help me create a web app? And it'll give you the code. But with something like Goose, it'll literally spin the web app up for you, and it can even deploy it to like Vercel or whatever you wanted.
That is crazy.
Right? That is so cool, right? And then like I mentioned earlier, and Adriana mentioned, it's uh LLM agnostic. So basically you can bring in Claude 4, Claude 3.5, GPT 4.0, whatever it is, and like bring it into Goose. And the value of that, right, is because models have been trained on a ton of data, right? Like code, your MySpace statuses, whatever, like something you wrote on someone's Facebook wall, but they all have had like different focuses, right? So when they get trained on specific data, they may be focused on being really good at one thing. Maybe one LLM's good at like summarizing, or one's really good at coding. So it's really nice to be able to switch in and out of the LLMs for Goose to get it to do what you want. And then Goose was made or built on Model Context Protocol. You heard Adriana like mention that, and like basically people get overwhelmed by this, and I'll pause like right after I explain this because I'm sure you have like thoughts on this. But like this is just the open source standard. It's not like an actual like technology. It's just a rule that like companies came up with together, and they're like, okay, here's how we're going to make it easier to build and use AI agents. So instead of like you trying to connect your AI agent to Google Docs and you have to make your own like specific special integration. There can just be like a standard way that all AI agents are going to communicate with your systems. And this allows you to essentially like extend your AI agents capabilities to other systems. Like in the Goose ecosystem, we call MCP servers extensions. One, because we want to be like friendly to non-engineers, but two, because that's really what it's doing. It's bringing in that additional context. That in the past with like AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude, I would be like copying and pasting things from a Google Doc. Like I'll be like, oh, can you help me improve this blog post or whatever? And I'll like copy and paste it. But now with tools like Goose that use MCP, I can literally just turn on the MCP Google Drive extension and I'll be like, go look at this document, go ahead and edit it or leave suggestions or whatever, so it can act on my behalf. And I'll pause right here if you want to like talk about it or anything.
Yeah, when that came out, I was like it was really interesting because instead of users waiting for the companies to build out the MCP servers, the open source community started building out these MCP servers themselves and then giving it to other people. So like, hey, you want to connect us to an LLM to do this quickly? I've already built it. And so now companies are like, wait, we want control over that, you know?
Yeah.
And so it kind of pushes people to be like, wait, this AI revolution is happening. And instead of like building everything internally, the community has brought out this MCP kind of standard to be able to build out the APIs so that it's easier to connect to LLMs. And I thought that was like a good like fire to light up on certain companies that are kind of behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you totally. And I think that's where it gets misconstrued to people that MCP server is like overhyped. I don't think people who are not like fully into it, they're like, oh, everybody's just excited, but it's not even that cool of a technology. People are not excited because it's like an amazing technology, like it's like this complex technology. They're excited because they can contribute to it, because they can like be part of the community, and build like like you said, build integrations that companies were like being mad slow on. They're like, wait a minute, I could just do this myself. So I think that's why it's like exciting for people. And then companies, like you just said, are like, wait, don't build it yourself. We want to have the monopoly on our own company's technology.
It's kind of amazing. I think open source is becoming a lot more. How do you say? It should be more valued, or people are trying to see the value in it. Because if you wait for companies to, invest or something like that, it could take forever. And I see that a lot right now with like we have React that hasn't like moved the needle on certain
True.
things, but we see other languages kind of already getting out there. They're much quicker, and frameworks that are much more more flexible and stuff. And
Mm.
that's a lot because bigger companies like Meta, and not to go off tangent, sorry to go off way tangent.
Oh, I'm thinking.
Like Meta owns React, right? And Microsoft owns GitHub. All these open source stuff. They have control over the open source stuff, but how much of it are they, taking care of the ecosystem and dedicating to it versus the actual community who dedicate towards it without pay as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Very interesting to see open source become more and more and more important instead of I just think that now if people are struggling to find a job, open source has so much opportunity to kind of get the skill set you need. You just have to
Yeah.
find like the right mentor or something.
Yeah, yeah, the right project. I think that's so true because oftentimes it could be like, well, we have this open source thing kind of to do a checkbox, but we're not really focused on it. But like, cause we're not investing our time or money as much. But now you're like, oh yeah, this is important. And I think I even seen that with my company Block, right? Like we apparently, and I had no clue, we've been putting out open source projects all the time, but we didn't invest like a particular like segment of people to focus on it. And so now we have, oh yeah, I seen someone said, how do
Yeah,
you how do you find open source mentors? That's a good question.
that is a good question. I think do you know what is it in October? We have like it's open source month.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, Oktoberfest. Well, it's a couple months from now, but that is the most time that most people come out of like open source, and they could go out to the community and they're like, "Hey, these are issues that we need help on our repos." And like it's like a contest kind of that you
Yeah.
can work towards the projects, and you get some sort of like freebies back. But yeah, Oktoberfest is one of them, and like you get an option of projects. Um, there used to be like different open source communities. I forget the name of it. That you could like sign up for, and you can even get a stipend. But I don't know how often they're doing it every year, especially with.
Oh.
I know Red Hat
Isn't it
does
like
something like it.
Google Summer of Code or Google Summer of Doc, something like that? Red
Yeah,
Hat did one? I didn't know that.
I think so. If I'm not mistaken, I remember where there used to be one for Ruby. Ruby was like a really big one where they used to host one for women and minorities and all that. But I don't know
Mm.
how often they're doing it or how popular it's becoming. But I do know that there was one, and there's another one, open source of community, open source of something. I will
Yeah.
try to share that if I can end up finding it. But yeah, that I find that is really cool if you're kind of still struggling to get a full-time job. Open source within your community, especially with meetups in your local community, because they're working on projects, and you can always dedicate time on that thing. I know that I had a community of React ladies, and we have like a website that we can dedicate to, and
Mm.
that was led by Monica Powell. She's a really great technical speaker. And she had one where she dedicated one to Oktoberfest as well, but that was a couple years ago. But
Yeah, that's awesome. And I agree with you on the like finding jobs thing through open source because you could be working within an open source project and then there's all these other people working with you and they probably have like cool jobs and now they can like vouch for you and be like, yeah, like Adriana's mad good. Like she be like pushing up all this code. Like she should work with me at XYZ company. So that's like easy referrals, easy networking, and easy us learning about like other technologies that like outside of school or outside of your job you might not have gotten a chance to.
yeah, that's actually a good segue to when to talking about community.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna do it where it's just us because I don't think we have anything else to share.
Yeah.
With Sarah, she asked, "Is there a specific place you visit, maybe GitHub or Reddit, to find out Oktoberfest?" I did see that there's a Reddit thread about open source communities. I think if a good Google search, especially ones tied around like Google themselves, maybe opensource.com could probably also be a good resource to start out with. But there's just also just a lot of projects. Yeah, opensource.com is actually supported by Red Hat. So that's why I mentioned them about them having a program. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's programs during the summer, but there definitely are programs. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, and come you can check out Goose. We always well, my team always does like Hacktoberfest and we make sure to have like open issues that are not just code related. So like if there's people that are like I want to contribute but like I'm not an engineer, like we have like you can do a content contribution or a doc contribution or whatever. Even if you are an engineer and you're just like I'm not feeling confident. So I can't type in the chat, dang it. But if you want, I'll just type this to Adriana, github.com/blog/goose. And you guys can go to that repo around September and October. You should be able to see something pop up.
Cool. Where did you? Oh, I see private
Oh,
chat.
sorry, I put it in the private chat because I can't type in the comments because I think because I'm not hosting this.
Yeah, I see. I don't. I hope. I wonder if there is a thing. I'll figure it out later. But was gonna say this actually goes as a segue to community. But
Yeah.
before I do that, I do know that Goose has like a grant right now that they're or a scholarship grant where they're letting people, if you've got like an idea of something of how to like enhance Goose or do something with Goose or something like that, they'll provide a certain amount of money to help you out.
Yes. Let me also put that link here. Yeah, so we're funding 100 K in grants for folks who are contributing to Goose. I guess I didn't really show should I show a small thing in Goose? I know that we're transitioning to community. But
No,
if
yeah,
not, I
we
can.
have time.
Okay. Let me show like a quick thing that we can do in Goose. Um, stop. Just so you guys can see, because you're hearing me talk about it, but you're not really knowing what it is. Let me pull it up. Exit. I'll do like a really simple example. Okay. So this is the Goose UI, and like I do so many chats. As you can see, I like use like 300 million tokens so far. But what I'm gonna show you guys is, oh, I have my recipes on a different window. Hold on a second. So Goose has a lot of cool different features. It's not just like, oh, you um chat with a bot and then that's it. We have this thing called like recipes, and these are like repeatable AI workflows. Like sometimes maybe like you've used whatever AI tool, maybe it's Replit, maybe it's chat GPT, and you're like telling somebody like this prompt was like mad good. It like did like a whole cool thing for me, and they want to repeat it, but they're not able to get that same experience. Or even yourself, you do the same prompt, and because AI is non-deterministic, it doesn't always give the same results. So we
Mhm.
have something called recipes, which kind of just like pre-packages everything for you and can give you that same results over and over again. So I made like a simple recipe. This is just like a fun one. People use it for like serious like actual processes, but this one is going to essentially give me a um help me create a 404 page. I don't know, it didn't open the recipe for me. I'm just gonna quit. Maybe because I have two opens. Let's see one more time.
Is this the UI for recipes, or did you build this out?
Oh no, I had Goose build that for me.
Not
Cause I was like, I was late. I'm so lazy now. It's so crazy. Oh, it's right here. I didn't notice. Um, I'm so lazy to the point that my coworker pointed out that I told Goose to push some code to Git and to clone a repo. So I even told Goose, I was like, create something that you can just save my recipes on. All right.
not
Yeah. So I can basically, if you see right here, like I have Goose open and I can say like I want to build like a cute 404 page, but I want it to like be designed or like have like my personality in it. Like let's say this was for like a personal web page. So I clicked build like an engaging 404 page from my GitHub repo. And what I have the recipe program to do is to like ask me for my GitHub username. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it that. Grow Bytes.
nice.
And
Cool.
then, yeah, it should go ahead and literally like make a folder with some index.html file and JavaScript and stuff like that. Um, yeah, in a few seconds. But oh, another thing, people often say like, oh, like it Goose takes a little bit longer than like a chat GPT or something like that. But that's because chat GPT, all it has to do is like generate text to you. Whereas with something like Goose, it's going back and forth and talking with the LLM. So like I gave it this prompt and it goes to the LLM like Claude 4 and it's like, okay, Rizal wants me to build this 404 page. Like, what's the plan? And then the LLM gives it the plan and then Goose is able to act on it. So that's why it like takes a little bit of time because it's doing stuff in the background.
I see. And it's telling you its process as well. It's like,
Exactly.
have you used Klein or heard of Klein?
I've heard of Klein. I haven't used it. I hear people really love it. I need to step into it. Have you like it?
Yeah, I use it at work. I have a very pro AI company, and they give me
Oh.
access to all the AI tools. They're like,
Oh.
the thing is they just don't want me to use anything. They don't want me to use their code anywhere else. So that's why they
Okay.
give me all the licenses. So like, if you're gonna use this stuff, use it within our license, so you don't sell our code because their product is pretty unique. Uh,
Oh, wow.
I'm on that lucky side that I get to test out all these products. But yes, I am a Klein user. And I definitely like it, its thinking process and all that. And we even have like AI bots on our pull request reviews to kind of give us reviews, tell us, hey, this could have been done better. I even have conversations with the AI bots on my pull request reviews to kind of train it better and stuff. So it's been pretty cool to learn these new tools.
That's fun. I need to learn it. I need to try it out. That sounds really cool to me, especially the bots being able to like chat with you about your PR.
Yeah.
Let's see what it made me. It could be not as cute. Let's see. I don't know. It will open on my other screen. But yeah, this is what it made me. It has like my picture, the repos I have, and it like tried to make like a cute little story about me, I guess, and like show like some of my commit activity. So that's just like an idea of how Goose could work for people that are like they don't really understand like what an AI agent is,
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, that's it.
That's nice. That is a really cool thing. And people can share this as a way of like, because if you're committing a day, but you're not done with your project, how do you tell the story of what you're actually building? If
Mm.
you're not done deploying things, you can at least show a story like this is what she built. And that's why it's probably cool to have a good commit history and all that. So that's actually a really good example for people who are trying to show like, hey, I'm learning something here. I'm just not done taking things to production, which is
Wow.
probably the hardest step about things.
I'm about to steal that. I didn't even think of it that way. I was just like, "Oh, this is cute for me to do."
I could spin anything into something.
For a kid, I was like, "Wow."
But that's really cool to do all that. And so, and that took, what did that take? That took five
That was
minutes.
short. Yeah, it felt well, in my head, it felt kinda long. I was like, "They're probably telling me hurry up," but that was actually pretty short.
Yeah, because we're waiting on it and stuff. But yeah, what that took 5 minutes probably would have taken us a whole day if we didn't have ADHD or distractions or anything
Man,
like that.
it
That
would
would
take me all week. I would be like, "Wait, I forgot what I was doing."
and it's able to keep track of what you're doing at the time so that you, what is that? It's, or is it something else? Is it recipes? No, it's not.
Recipes, yeah. Yeah,
Is
you just, like, froze for me, so I missed the word. But yeah, it is called recipes. Yeah, I think it's cool, and if people are like, "Oh, that was, like, a really basic example," it's just for the demo, but I've, like, built things that I never thought I would be able to build. Like, I was building, like, computer vision apps. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is cool."
you can essentially now build out iOS apps and like
Yeah,
make bank on that, building a whole game.
yeah.
Got another question. New question. Nothing's a new question here. We're
No,
all.
yeah.
I'm a designer. How did you get to the UI to show up? Is built into the Goose or is that just the browser?
Which UI? You mean like when this popped up, or do you mean Goose itself? I literally told Goose like after it built my file. I mean, after it built my code, I told it open it in the browser for me because I'm that lazy. So
I
if you're
guess,
talking about this, yeah.
how did it decide to write out the UI? Like, I guess colors and all that. Does it just decide?
Oh, it just because I didn't give it details, it took its own like it did its own creative control. But if I gave it more specific details where I was like, I want the colors to be this or this to happen, it would follow suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same exact thing. That Ascendant tool that I shared with you guys earlier, I built that out with Replit. And I was like, I really like how fly.io looks like, and inspired me with that. And it took some colors and it automatically built it out for me. And so that's another thing. Oh yeah. So my uh this all asked 28 asked, okay, do you have prompting tips for a perfectionist?
I I have a few. I want to know from you. Wait, Adriana, it looked like you had thoughts.
Um no, because I know that's but she really is a perfectionist and
Oh, that's why you're laughing. I was like, oh, you got like, I thought you were like, girl, I got a lot of.
no, I'm laughing because she really is a perfectionist. And like, I guess if I think you should always start out with like, if you see something you like, tell the LLM to use it as inspiring. But it also, if once it gets built out and you see the visual of it and you're like, I don't like this and I don't like that, then tell it, and then it'll actually fix it for you, like centering things. putting a new image there. You don't like this color, replace it with this color, give it the hex color you actually want. Like that's how I think it might be actually a lot better to like
Yeah,
first see it and then start critiquing the crap out of it.
yeah. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna share my screen one more time.
Okay.
I don't. Sorry, I'm so annoying with it. But
No. Okay.
okay. I completely agree with what you said. I think it has to be like it's a process of patience, right? It's going to generate something. Let it be creative, or even like give it a plan beforehand and let it do its thing, and then be like, well, that was close, but not good enough, and like be really specific with what you mean by not good enough. Like I be so bossy with AI. I'm like, that was a. I saw someone do this. They were like, that was an 8 out of 10 goose. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm like 0 out of 10. But anyways, what I want to share my screen for is Goose has something called a Goose Hints file. I think other AI tools have this too. Like they have like cursor rules, like different types of ways that you can say like this is the standard that I'm looking for. So this is actually the Goose repo. So we use Goose to build Goose, but like they literally have. I put this on my own. Don't commit or push to GitHub unless I tell you, because sometimes it goes a little crazy. But they literally have like how they want like things to be. Like they're like this is a TypeScript app, so they're like don't even try with the Python. You could put your design stuff in here as well, and then this is probably where you will want to use MCP servers too. Oops, I made this too big. I wonder if I have the extension, but like there's a Figma extension somewhere. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. The
you can
design
like put
to be so
that.
important.
Exactly, and then it'll follow those like the what you wanted exactly. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Thank you for showing that. Yeah, that's really important. I think a lot of people end up like, oh, I don't get what I need out of AI, but it's really you training it at the end of the day, right? To do what you need it to do and saying the right words.
Yeah, yeah. Because
You
sometimes it takes you literally, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, it does. And like I know that there's been people in the community sharing different prompts of like how to not let it hallucinate by being very specific. I know I was doing that at my last job.
That's true. That's true. I'd be finding some good sites. So you were sharing it to people? Oh, I'm still new to AI integration. Just
Yes.
interesting. Cool.
Nice. Yeah, what were you saying? Sharing to people?
What was I saying? Oh, you said something about like people share out prompts, and that's what you were doing at your last job.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to build out specific prompts that would get the address of certain companies. Couldn't just move
Oh,
everything on the internet. I had to be from specific sources. And you had to be very specific in when you were asking it for, and you had to tell it, don't hallucinate, don't make up addresses, don't do this, don't do that. Right? You have to like give it all the guards so that
yeah,
it won't do it, and it still gives you the accuracy that you need. And
yeah,
so I was building out prompts, and I was like, engineering doesn't seem difficult when you talk about it in concept, but when you actually have to build something and you're thinking about legalities and not getting sued by providing the wrong information and stuff like that, you really have to be a lot more careful.
yes, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, so it's been very interesting on that end. But that was a company. Now I'm at a company that I'm just doing UI stuff, and I'll eventually be doing some configuration for assistant stuff. But that's another topic of things I've been doing. Um, yes, it is a skill in and of itself just to prompt efficiently. Yep, that's why prompt engineering is a whole role. I think,
Yeah, people laugh at it when they see the job posting, but
and
like you just said, it's hard.
people
What?
sell prompts. People be selling their prompts.
They
They be
do? Let me
Yeah.
get in that business. Cause
I don't know how much they be selling it for, but they'd be like, I have all these capable questions or guardrails that are very helpful for you to do this with this topic and that topic and stuff like
what?
that. Yeah.
$30 a piece. I mean,
So yeah, that's another thing that you gotta get good at. I mean, I feel like as engineers, we had to Google things and find answers on Stack Overflow. So that was like our prompt exercise before the real thing came.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
That's funny. Kemita said those people have never built custom prompts. I've been working on a few myself. So I did want to get into. We're on our last 10 minutes. So I did want to ask you a couple questions because overall, you do a lot of DevRel. You work on these tools, especially for Black open source, and people also invite you onto their podcast to kind of talk about their things as well. And so you have to interact with the community overall. And I know that you see a lot of people's opinions overall around AI and stuff. And like right now, it is a very like tough time because we have all these tools to our disposal. But do you ever kind of worry about what this means as an engineer, or do you
Mm.
think like this is we're kind of coding our end, or are we transforming into something else? Like, what's your opinion on that type of stuff?
Okay, here's my thoughts. I think right now it's kind of like the early 2000s vibes. Like, I mean, I wasn't coding then, I was a kid, but
Mhm.
like the internet was like more crazy then. Like we had marquees going across, and then we started getting more standards, and we're like, let's make it a little bit more. Yeah, I remember that was like real fun. But then we started getting a standard, and we got like a little bit more polished and proper. I think this is that era for AI. We're just doing all the crazy stuff. We're vibe coding, whatever. And everyone's like, oh, will my job be taken away? I don't necessarily think so. I do think we need to shift how we're used to building, but I think what will eventually happen is we're gonna like be creating like more infra for AI. And like it'll like all the crazy solutions that we've been having, they'll tamper out, and we'll actually have like real business use cases. But in the meantime, I don't think people should be as negative towards AI. I think you need like a healthy balance of like don't jump in and just be like, "Whoa, let's go for it." But like think about how this could eventually help improve your career, what areas you can use to help yourself, and then for the other stuff, just basically use discernment as an engineer.
I think discernment during these times are like absolutely important. Do
Yeah.
you have you been noticing a shift in how communities are being built right now through AI?
Ooh, that's interesting. I know that that's a good question. I know that some folks were actually complaining that they felt like because of AI, the communities haven't been as popping anymore.
Mhm.
But I haven't really noticed too much of a shift. To me, it's only enabling me to be like a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Like even like our Discord for our company, we have like a little like AI channel. If you wanted to ask AI an answer, it can give a response to you. But I'm curious for you, do you notice a difference?
Well, I believe that the reason why I was able to kind of do this live stream was because of AI, because a lot of the things that I ended up getting stuck on or would take me days to like resolve, or I would have to pull in somebody, I could easily just get resolved through ChatGPT and understand the problem
Yeah,
versus like being blocked all the time.
yeah,
Now I have more time for creativity to
yeah,
kind of content and then build out the things that I know, because I know what I want to build out. I know
yeah.
what I want it to look like, but the process of building out the code, I can debug it for sure when it comes out, and I know what I can get unblocked more easily. But and so I feel like I think right now is the most potent time where a person who's interested in doing so, no pressure, can build out their own brand, build out their own products, and build a community around it for like-minded people. And I feel like that's
Mm,
series, just as a way to like sometimes when you're working at a job that maybe doesn't inspire you, the
mm.
tools you have at hand can give you that ability to kind of build out the things you do want to build out and share it with people. And who knows, it could be something that ends up taking your 9 to 5. You never know, because we see influencers online who just live their lives out, and that's enough.
Yeah, that's so true. That's
Yeah.
so true.
We got a comment says from Planet Sierra. I generally worry about the sustainability impact, so I've been slow to adopt AI. Though I agree with you, Isel. I think it's our .com boom. You know.
Yeah, that is something I can't predict, and it is a slight worry, but I think we have the influence to guide the direction that it goes in.
Yeah. I think there's also a way to find the solution within the problem,
Yeah.
but it does require it does require, how do you say it, trial and error situations, because even if you decide to not use AI, there are still much more people, groups using it, even if you decide to prevent yourself. And that's the hard part about kind of wondering like your moral code, like thinking about sustainability, environment stuff. There's a lot of things happening that are definitely going to be out of your control. But one thing for sure is that this is going to be coming out, and it's not going to be stopped anytime soon, because
Too
it
many people.
yeah, yeah. I actually, I talk a little bit about this on my newsletter. And I relate it to, how do you call it, to a certain planet that is actually um, that is kind of describing the thing that we're going through right now, like the transformation in tech, the worrying about, is this going to replace my job, what do I need to know about this and that. And this specific transit is called Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto represents transformation, things that need to kind of change dramatically from the inside out in order to reborn into something different. And it is in the sign of Aquarius, which is very much representative of revolution, humanitarian efforts, can even be connected to technology through the usage of it. And so I actually wrote a guide about Pluto and Aquarius, and I'll share this in the Twitch chat. This is like a really good guide that overall just talks about what this is going to change. And the fact is that tech is the epicenter of this, because we are the main ones that distribute out the AI, or tune it up, fix it, use the tools. And now people of all types that don't work in tech are using Chat GPT, but do they know how to use it? And so like there's so much that goes around it. Um,
Mhm.
I like to see these patterns using astrology, and because I feel like I'm aware of astrology and how it goes, I know ahead of time, oh, this is what's going to happen. I need to prepare this way. And this series was actually a way of me kind of understanding like this is going to be a big shift. Even if in my current job I'm not working with AI directly, I need to know how it works so that I can stay ahead of the curveball. So the case happens where I get laid off, which I have been laid off twice in the last year.
Mhm.
Still managed to get a job through the
Yeah,
help.
you got jobs quickly.
Yeah, I had to what do you say? I used my community to help me find new jobs, which is really important. I've been networking for almost a decade, which gave me a leg up. So never think it's too late to network. Never think it's too late to build connections. Um, and I look at it less of as a transaction when I network with people, and more of like finding the right people that I want to help.
Mhm.
And I don't think about it as like I need them to help me now. I think about like maybe one day if I do this for this person, it will come back around in some other way or form that I need it. And that's usually how it's been for me. And so that's why I think community is so important, because to be laid off twice in 1 year is kind of detrimental to the human mind, especially when we rely on our careers for our for our livelihood and our lifestyle and stuff. And I'm a single mother, and that can be scary. So I can imagine people who are providers, they kind of worry about that type of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Aw.
I shared a little guide about like how I view my viewpoint of like what this transit is going to do. But I think it's always important to stay ahead, even if you don't want to use AI. I think it's important to stay kind of be aware of what it does, how it affects you, what it can help you with, especially in terms of income. I think that is always a good benefit and stuff like that. Giselle, did you have anything to add to that? I'm sorry, I've been rambling for like the last.
No, I mean, I think you said everything amazingly. I didn't have anything.
Well, we're at time. Um, and Planet Sierra, Camethyst 28. Let's see our Whip Sierra. Let's see who else. Anybody else who has joined? I just want to say thank you, Sierra O and Eve and Andrew. Thank you so much for talking in the chat with us. There will be a recorded version. You can always see the recorded version. I think it's usually always available on Twitter, or known as X now. And I think it's available on LinkedIn, things like that. So that should always be available. If you missed the recording and you're watching just now, it should come up later. Roselle, thank you so much for being a guest on my live stream. Um, I will have a second live stream for this season, and it will have to do with human design. If you've never heard about what human design is, don't worry. I'm going to go over that in my next episode. It's going to be less about tech, but is actually going to be with a gentleman who's in tech, who is going into human design. He has this vast amount of information that I think a lot of people should know about. So again, thank you for everyone who joined, and I'm going to end the stream right here. Thanks again. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye. Thanks for having me.